Did you just put the ring on, or are you in the first few years of your marriage? Welcome to the First Year Marriage Show, the podcast dedicated to helping newlyweds navigate the first few years of marriage. My husband, Marcus, and I will be sharing marriage tips to help you build a strong foundation for your marriage. We believe having a strong foundation is essential to having a happy, healthy, and lasting marriage. We will also be learning from the experiences of awesome married couples who have been where you are today, taking from them lessons to help you build a strong foundation for the lasting marriage you desire. Take a deep breath, relax, learn, and enjoy the show. Welcome to this week's episode of First Year Marriage Show. I'm your co-host, Ashley Kusi. I'm here with Marcus today, and we want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and a Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you guys celebrate. This week, we wanted to share our first year marriage story with you. So I'm here with Marcus. Marcus, you want to start us off?
Yeah, we got married in 2010, and actually, this is how we met. We met each other whilst we were in college in Virginia, and one thing led to another, and we decided we wanted to settle down together and spend the rest of our life together.
Okay, slow down. So we met in Virginia while we were students. He sent me a message on Facebook, or a friend request, sorry. And I accepted it, and he commented on one of my pictures.
Yeah, and I think that night we spent some time together just chatting on Facebook, and then we got to know each other a little bit and what we like, our interests and some of the things that we liked and we enjoyed. And then we planned to meet, I think, during that weekend. And on that weekend, we met each other, and we spent the time together, getting to know each other really and knowing what we liked and what we didn't like in a spouse or future spouse.
Well, it didn't happen that quickly that we were just serious. Like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want to marry, and this is who I am. But it did happen quickly. What's interesting is we both actually went into this relationship thinking that it was just for fun. Neither of us were serious. We were both looking just to have some fun, and we decided to meet up. We went dancing, and then it was actually that night that we had the most realist conversation, I guess would be the only way to explain it, where we were just like, okay, this is what I want out of life, and this is what I don't want. So if this isn't going to be that, then let's just not waste our time.
Yeah, and we talked for about at least 3 hours, getting to know each other and what we really wanted in our future spouse. And we realized we had the same qualities that we were looking in a future spouse, and that really helped us move forward in our relationship because we were able to decide, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And we knew we had to make some compromises, and we knew we had to make some changes in order to be able to be in a really committed relationship.
Yeah, we talked till 5 a.m., I think it was. And we were just so real. And it was like, this is what I want out of life. This is where my life is going. And then we got to just open up and talk to each other and really start to the journey of discovering who each other was and begin our relationship together.
4 months after we had this talk, we decided we wanted to settle down and really spend our lives together as a married couple.
Which I know sounds crazy. 4 months.
Yeah, but we knew what we wanted, and we knew we were the right person for each other.
When you know, you just know.
Yeah, and for anybody who's listening to us right now, if you are concerned about whether the person you're dating right now is the person you want to spend your life with, I think the best thing you can do is to talk to whoever you're dating and ask them whether you meet the requirements for the person that they want to spend the rest of their life with. And if you don't meet that requirements, then it's best for you to make the right choice or the right decision for yourself and for your future.
Yeah, what helped is we both actually had lists that we had written. I wrote mine when I was, I think, 16, and I still had it.
And I wrote mine when I was 18 years old, when I started college back in Ghana. I had that list, and up to this day, I still have that book with me. And if anybody wants to see what I had on that list, I can take a snapshot and then send it to them. So you can just shoot us an email at firstyearmarriage@gmail.com, and I'll be able to send you a copy of that list that I had personally. And I think Ashley also has hers.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll just put it on the Instagram. So it was basically, it's a list of the qualities, the character qualities that I wanted in my future husband and that Marcus wanted in his future wife. So I remember a couple days into knowing Marcus, I brought out that list so I would be not as biased as if I was really, really, really liking him and in the relationship. But he met like everything but one of my requirements.
For me, I basically had a list, and with my list, it had three categories. One was the no-brainer. If you have any of these characteristics, either you change or I cannot spend the rest of my life with you. An example would be like smoking. And actually, at that point in time, she smoked, and I didn't like it, so I told her, and she quit smoking like instantly, and that really helped us too.
Yeah, but it's not about me just changing and molding into what he wanted. Smoking is a bad habit, and I was doing it because I was bored, and it was actually against the rules at the college I was attending. So I wanted to be a rule breaker, and I was in that phase in my life. But I was ready to just give that up, and I never went back to it. And then the other thing is Marcus doesn't like drinking, but I said I won't get drunk, but I'll have a drink once in a while. So I didn't just give up everything I was and wanted to do to make him happy and just to be able to be with him.
After we got to know each other really well, 5 months into our relationship, we got married in December. And actually this past 2 weeks, we celebrated our 4th-year anniversary, which we had a lot of fun. And we took that moment to reflect on how we've matured as a married couple and how we've matured also as individuals. The journey that we've been on since we got married in 2010 up to this date. And we've been through a lot, which we really appreciate and are really thankful for.
Yeah, so we want to share some of those struggles and triumphs with you from our first year.
Yeah, and to give a better description of our first year, we always refer to it being an emergency year for us because everything that we did from one thing to another was just one emergency to another. Like it was just coming. Whether that's 1 month, we will be tackling an issue, and then the next month we'll be tackling a different issue, and sometimes even after 2 or 3 months down the road, we would think we would have resolved this issue, and reappears and we had to tackle it again. And sometimes some of the issues were financial, career issues, and we had some struggles that we're going to share with you, like some really personal struggles, like with me facing deportation because I didn't keep my status as a student in the US, and then us struggling personally adjusting to married life.
So the first one, the deportation. Marcus came here as a student, and that's when we met. When we met, he wasn't in school. He was working outside of a campus, which was against the rules of a student visa, but he was doing it to save up so he could go back to school. So he was trying to obey the rules. When we got married, the only way to let him stay in the country with me was to file to change his residency status. And he was actually arrested while we were getting the paperwork together in month 4 of our marriage, which was one of the most traumatizing things for me.
It was really scary, and I thought the world was coming to an end. If you're not an immigrant, you probably wouldn't be able to relate to this, but I thought the world was coming to an end, and it wasn't an easy time for me personally and for us, because I was thinking we just got married and this is what just happened to us. It's our 4th month and I've been arrested and I'm being sent to jail, and I wouldn't be able to see Ashley for a long time. It could be years. I didn't know what was going to happen. So it was really scary for us. And we were really, really like frightened with it. And, it took us some time.
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, it was really, really hard because we have this really strong bond right from the beginning. And I felt like my whole world was just shattered. My best friend was ripped from me. And honestly, like, I don't want to over dramatize it, but I couldn't sleep and I couldn't eat, and it was the longest 3 days of my life. We didn't have enough money. I thought we only needed 10% down for the bail. Long story short, we got the money from a family member, and even then they weren't too sure because they only met him when I think it was a month before we actually got married that my family met him. And so they were still a little skeptical, like, is he marrying her for the green card, and then this happens. But it all worked out, and that led into an entire year of him not being able to work. And so it was on me to work so we could pay the bills, and we honestly didn't know how we were going to pay our electric bill, the next bill that came the week after, how we were going to put food on the table. It was hard. It was very, very hard. I'm just thankful that we hadn't gotten pregnant until all this was over.
Yeah. And whilst we're going through these financial difficulties also, we're also juggling with our own personal difficulties that we're going through, adjusting to living together under one roof and being able to combine our different characteristics or personalities to be able to live together as a married couple. And one thing that, looking back right now, I can see is with marriage, when you get married, it kind of breaks you down a little bit, breaks some of your walls because you've been living on your own, doing things on your own. Now it breaks you down. It breaks each one of you down and then builds the two of you together into one unit so that you can have a really healthy and lasting marriage.
If you're willing to let it and if you're willing to work together. Because it doesn't just do that. Oh, I got married. Everything's going to be fine and dandy now. And it's not. Marriage is work. It's fun. It's great. But it's work. Yeah, it's work to make it great.
Yeah. I'm really, really grateful for everything that happened during our first year. And I'm really thankful for our in-laws for helping us with everything that we went through during that first year. Without them, I don't know if we would have been able to do well as we did in our first year.
So what's one thing do you think that you had to, that was like one of the hardest things for you in adjusting to being married to me?
In adjusting to being married to you, it was changing my mindset from being selfish to being selfless. That was a really hard thing for me. Before I met Ashley, like I had money in the bank because I was working. I was pretty much on my own, doing a lot of stuff on my own. I didn't have to ask anybody for permission to do what I wanted to do. And changing that mindset was a really tough thing for me. But I knew for the good of our marriage and for the good of our relationship, I needed to change that mindset and that way of doing things. So that was something that I had to work on personally to be able to adjust to living together as a married couple. And over the years, it's something that we deal with once in a while, but we've worked hard on it. And personally, I've worked hard on it to be able to make it easier for us to live together as a married couple. What about you?
Yes, I can definitely say that the being selfish thing and just being so independent and then being able to be both dependent and independent with you was definitely an adjustment. But I think the biggest thing that reared its ugly head when we first got married was my insecurities. I had just honestly put all the other men in my life who haven't been very good, I just kind of put them on you. And I put them on Marcus. And I just assumed that when he said something like, oh, never mind, I'll do it myself, that he was being like, oh, you're too stupid. I'm just going to do it by myself. Don't worry about it. Being sarcastic and, passive aggressive. But he honestly meant, don't worry about it, honey. I'll do it myself. So just trying to separate pasts. I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to think of, but basically just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and realize, that he has good intentions towards me.
Yeah. And one last thing that we struggled with together as a married couple during our first year was communication. And during that process, we realized that men and women communicate differently. And that was one thing that really helped us a lot because we were able to understand that we communicated differently. Whenever I actually say something, I had to ask her again, is this what you actually mean? And then she'll tell me, okay, this is what I mean, or this isn't what I meant. And that will help us to be able to communicate better a lot.
Yeah, we had to sometimes go through it multiple times and actually take a break. Okay, let's come back to this later. When actually learning to have to take a break from a disagreement, being like, okay, you know what? Let's give this some time. We'll come back to it. We can both have some time to think about it and come back because I like to resolve things right away. So that was a learning curve for me.
Do you remember some of the conflicts that we had during that first year at all? I know we used to fight over the toilet seat, which is an example I use in most of the interviews that I have with the couples we have on the podcast. And sometimes I'll put a seat up and actually want it down. So we had those fights a little here and there.
Yeah, so he just listened to me and kept it down.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we had a conflict with was with washing the dishes. That was a big thing for us because I like to have the dishes washed like on the day that the dishes are made, like whenever it's dirty. And Ashley was fine washing it in the morning. So we had to talk about it and we had to resolve that. We came to agreement that, okay, if I want to wash it, I'll wash it during that day. And then if Ashley wants to wash it in the next morning, she was fine washing it. And looking back to our past and our experience during our first few years of our marriage, it wasn't a big deal. Like looking back right now, those weren't big deals, but back then it was a big deal for us. And we had some conflict here and there about those.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the big, actually like a pretty detailed fight that I can remember that we had was like the example I just gave where I was talking to somebody and Marcus came in the room and he was asking me to do something. And I was like, yeah, okay, all right. Just give me a minute. And then I was trying to continue my conversation and Marcus came in again and he's asking me to do something. And I said, just text it to me and I'll get it done. And he said, never mind, I'll do it myself. So because I was assuming that he meant it the way everybody else in my life had always meant it, he was saying, oh, forget about it. I'll do it myself. You're too stupid and lazy to do it. And that's not what he meant. So I was obviously really hurt by that. I went up to him afterwards and was like, what do you need me to do? I'll do it. And he's like, no, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. So I left, slammed the door and left, went to work. I'm not proud of that. But I know I was silent all the way home in the car and got in the shower, and he was like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is... So we got a chance to talk, which we should have done from the very beginning. That is something we had to learn, is just to be like, when we feel those emotions starting to rise, where I start to feel like I'm getting irritated or upset, I can be like, okay, wait a minute. Let me take a deep breath. What do you mean?
So during that first year, we went through a lot of adjustments and a lot of difficult moments, and some resources that we used, books that we used that really helped us was the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. We read that together. Like, I read it at one point in time, and I gave it to Ashley for her to read it, because we had different mindsets as to how to spend our money and whether we should handle it this way or that way. So that was one book that really helped us a lot.
The second resource was Love and Respect. I don't even know how to pronounce the author's last name. But that was a good book. I remember I learned a lot in that book, but the one thing that really stood out was to think that my husband always has the best intentions towards me. That, your spouse is trying to do something nice for you, that they're not meaning to hurt you. If they are, then you're in an unhealthy relationship and need to seek some help for that, some outside help. But overall, that really was the big help for me in the first year.
Those are the two resources that really helped us in our first year. And in our second year, we read the 5 Love Languages. And that was a book that also has really helped us a lot. And even as a result of reading that book right now, we know that one of our daughters' love language kind of gears towards touch and physical affection. And because of that book, it's really helped us to understand how to communicate with each other and how to show love to each other and appreciate what we do for each other.
One of the other things we had to learn in our first year of marriage was boundaries, respecting each other's boundaries, as well as setting boundaries with our family.
To elaborate on the boundaries, one thing that we did personally was whenever there was an issue with, let's say, my family members, I was the one who spoke with them and told them, this is what we want to do, this is our plans, and this is how I want to do it. I didn't let Ashley talk to her in-laws, because it was going to be difficult for her to understand them. First, the language barrier, and then second, she doesn't really know them well, and it would just make things difficult. So I personally spoke with my parents to resolve any issues that we had or were going through, or to relay any information that we wanted to relay to them. And Ashley also did the same thing for her family and her relatives. So, and that really helped us a lot during our first few years. And even right now, it is still something that we implement in our marriage and in everything that we do right now, which has really helped us in setting really good boundaries with our relatives and our in-laws. To add to that, if let's say you just got married or you've been married for 10, 20, 15 years and you don't really have boundaries with your families or with your in-laws, the best thing that you can do, or with whenever any issue arises or you have something you want to communicate with each other's family, it's best that you talk with your family and then your spouse talks to his or her family.
Yes, the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud is really, really great book. Definitely highly recommend it. It helped me, and I came from a family who we don't really have boundaries, and when somebody sets boundaries, they aren't really respected. So that really helped me and helped me change my mindset in order to set these boundaries and have them respected.
Do you think we've covered almost everything that we wanted to talk about and share with our listeners for this week's episode?
I think so, except maybe we should leave them with some funny stories.
Okay, funny stories. So what are some of the funny stories that we had during the first year? I remember we used to fight over which side of the bed to sleep on. I remember very, very well, because I wanted to sleep on the right side, and then you wanted to...
He wanted to sleep on the side farthest from the door. But, I mean, if somebody comes in the house to kill us, he's the one that's got to be by the door so he can, stop them, He's the man of the house, right?
Yeah, and that was really one funny moment for us. And what other funny moments did we have?
Well, we did take a kind of a mini honeymoon the summer after we were married. We were married in December, but we went up to Maine. And we went camping. I took my city boy husband camping for the first time. And it poured the whole time until the last day. We were all soaking wet. Everything was soaking wet because I didn't bring a proper tarp. But anyway, The last date was sunny, so we got to go to the ocean. We rented a hotel room, finally, because we were just soaking wet and cold and we did a lot of shopping that weekend. Yeah, so, Marcus, 30 seconds. What do you know now that you wished you'd known when we first got married?
Wow. I always love asking couples these questions. And for me, what I wish I had known back then, before we got married or during the first year that we were married, I wish I had known that, marriage, even though everybody tells you it takes a lot of hard work, just think about it this way. It's going to be twice the amount of work that you're going to do. And then also remember that your spouse has the best intentions for you. Your spouse is there to support you, to help you improve and have a better life and be able to enjoy your life and not live a miserable life, because it's two people coming together to build a family together. And as everybody knows, two heads are better than one. So that would be the advice that I'll give to anybody who asks me for any advice. And just to add to that, if there is any married couple that you know around your neighborhood, in your family, somewhere that you like the way they interact, you like their marriage, the way they're living their lifestyle, just go and talk to them and seek out some knowledge from them and wisdom before they are gone and you cannot really interact with them, because learning from other couples has really helped us a lot in our marriage, and we are really grateful for all the married couples that are around us and those that we have the opportunity to learn from and those that we get to interview on this podcast also. What about you?
Oh my goodness. I think that what I wished I would have known from the beginning was to make sure that I look inward before I point my finger, and to start working on my patience, because I'm a very impatient person. But definitely to work on myself before I start going, well, you have to do this and you're not doing this right, and things like that. And then of course also the roles we play, like who should do this and who should do that and how we should do certain things, just to know that we need to talk about that sort of stuff beforehand. Respecting the boundaries, your boundaries, because I was really bad at that for a while.
Really, really bad. Awful. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. I know you're probably expecting to listen to me interviewing a married couple and sharing their first year story.
Hope we didn't bore you.
Yeah, hope we didn't bore you at all. We are new to this whole podcasting medium and we are learning as we go. We are not professionals. For me personally, English is my second language, so I try my best to speak it so that you can listen well and hear what I'm saying. But thank you for tuning in to listen. We really appreciate you guys listening to our podcast and helping us spread the word about the podcast and how it can impact the lives of other couples and impact their marriages so they can have a really lasting and fulfilling and enjoying marriage for the rest of their lifetime.
So we'd love to hear from you. We want to know, if you have any questions about us specifically, the podcast, or if, what you want to hear for guests or questions that you want the guest asked, anything like that. We really want to hear from you. You can email us firstyearmarriage@gmail.com. That's the best way to reach us for the feedback. The feedback that we do receive from you guys really just helps to motivate us and inspire us to continue doing this. This is why we do this show, is for couples like you, because this is something that we would have loved to have when we were first married. We really believe in trying to help marriages set up a strong foundation so that you can have a happy marriage that lasts, the kind of marriage that you want to have. So we want to thank you for tuning in this week. We want to wish you a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. For all the show notes for this episode, visit firstyearmarriage.com/15. One of the best ways to interact with us and keep up with what's new and upcoming and happening on the podcast is actually our Facebook page, which is called First Year Marriage. And it's just on Facebook, so just search on Facebook and you should find us. We also have Instagram. We don't post a lot, but we do post on there. And our Instagram is also First Year Marriage. So just search on Instagram for that one. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode.
Thank you for listening to us. We really appreciate you guys again. And have a wonderful Christmas holiday and enjoy your time with each other.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the First Year Marriage Show. To submit a question, feedback, or suggestions for the podcast, visit firstyearmarriage.com/feedback. Apply what you've learned today and build a strong foundation for the happy, healthy, and lasting marriage you desire. Enjoy your marriage. Enjoy your life.